Okay, guys, so we try to get communication with Maria, but anybody answer. So I'm going to start to share my screen with you. So I'm going to do a fast explanation to you. And this is the topic for today. Modal verbs should and can. Okay, so this topic is very easy. It's not complicated. Just we had to learn how to use or what does they mean or the proportion about these uh, verbs. Okay, this is the class rules. Complete attention is required during the session. It is not a master class between teacher and students. It is a meeting between teachers to discuss how to teach a specific topic. So all students must participate during class. If possible, have the camera on to make the class more enjoyable. So there should be, we correct each other respectfully. That's very important. So there should be, so in this rules, we had two um, modal verbs. So we are using the two modal verbs in these rules. So when I say there should be no fear of making mistakes, error unnecessary in any learning process, and all students must participate during classes. So we have two examples how to use the modal verbs. Okay, so in this class we had a goals. I read the goals for you. So learn how modal verbs are conjugated in different tense. Improve the ability to express oneself orally and in reading using modal verbs properly and accurately. The main objective is for the student to master the use of modal verbs to be able to communicate effectively and appropriately in a variety of situations and contexts in English. Okay, so those are our goals for this class. Uh, so right here we had a warm-up activity. Imagine you have just enrolled in swimming lessons, then the people ask you this question. Can you swim in the pool? This is the question. Okay, so we had choices for you. Which one of those questions refer to an opinion or suggestion? An ability, a possibility, ask for permission, a formal request. That's a formal request. I don't know, but you have to learn how to use that. So, guess. So after that, so we have the topic of the day. Modal verbs should and can. Okay, those modal verbs I'm going to study today. What is the modal verbs? The modal verbs can and should, as their name indicated, they express the mode or manner in which the action expressed by the main verbs of the sentences occurs. They denotate therefore possibilities, permission, necessary or obligation among those. Modal verbs can only be used in the present tense and do not have a past or participle form. Furthermore, they never add an s for the third person singular. Some modern verbs have alternative form that allow the same ideas to be expressed through other verbs than do a low conjugation in other verb tense. Okay, so we had the two different explanation with should and with can. We can, sorry. Conjugation. The conjugation of modal verbs in English has the following aspects in common. They can only be conjugated, in the present in the third person singular and is never at example. He must do what? He is told. No, he must. So we don't need to put s in the end of the verb. So we don't need to use. We don't need to use any auxiliary, any s when you are talking about in the third person of the singular, and also you don't need to use with to. Okay, they are never accompanied by an auxiliary verb in negative and interrogative sense. Example, Max need, remember, you don't need to put s in the end of the word, not to worry about his future. Max must not touch any dangerous equipment. Okay, so these examples are very clear in what moment we have to use or we don't have to use the rules. Okay, so that's very clear. We can use any auxiliary with this and to. And also, we don't need to put s in the end of the verb because this one it doesn't need. Okay, so you don't need to use or put s in the end of the verb. Okay, that's the in this verse must, can, any. Okay, we don't need to use those. Okay, that's very clear. Okay, so use modal verbs indicated the way or manner in which the action expressed by the main verb of the sentences occurs. They denote therefore ability, possibility, plausibility, permission, obligation, necessary, but also assumption, request, warning, desire, etc. Okay, so the characteristics of modal is verb. There are four main characteristics of modal verbs. They do not conjugate it. As we saw in previous session, they modify other verbs. So after a modal verb, there is always a verb. In it is infinitive form, okay? Without, remember, without the to. Without the to. That's very simple, okay? For example, you can eat better. You can eat better. They express certain ability, need, disposition, and obligation. The negative or interrogative form of a modal verb does not need any auxiliary. So you don't need to put auxiliary. You can use do within the correct form, but I need to use as auxiliary. So you don't need to put auxiliary in the beginning of the verb and the sentence because it doesn't need that. Okay, just put the modal verbs in the beginning, and also that's it. You don't need to use, and you don't need to use also the verb to be when you want to do a question. Okay, that's very clear, that topic. So should this verb that this verb that translated into Spanish as da duty has the idea of an obligation or recommendation, that's it's like you. So depend of the context. When someone is talking about um, any conversation you have, okay? So this is imagine that conversation. So someone is speaking with you, and when the mother verse is in the beginning of the sentence, so pay attention. It's a question, okay? It's a question, or depend the different context, okay? So is the regular conversation, so just pay attention in a conversation, okay? So examples: you should take your medicine. What do you think? This mandatory is an obligation, because you have to, you have to take the medicine. You should. But in this case, so we can use should. It's like a, you should take your medicine. It's like it's like when someone say funny that, in a funny form. Hey, deberías tomarte tu medicamento, but it's mandatory because you have to, okay? So pay attention in that. Take, uh, we should not be in this meeting. It's like, right, because imagine this conversation. This is a meeting, but just for a specific teacher, but the student is there. Anybody invite her, okay? So you say, hey, you should not be in this meeting, because it's right. She doesn't need to be there. She need to go. She needs to go. Okay, that's clear for that. Okay, so in that case, is mandatory for with these examples. Okay, with these examples. Okay, so can describe the problem is present ability or possibility. And in Spanish, we translate is as power, okay? Is power is very different, okay? But I can speak English? Yes, I can. Yes, I can, right? But you can speak English? No, I cannot. Is the possibility. Yeah, right. You had two choices, or negative that, or affirmative that, okay? But it's not mandatory. No mandatory. It's just a question, okay? It's just a question. He needs to know if you speak English. That's it, okay? Can you help me? Okay, pay attention. You can do it. You can do it. If you can help, this is optional, right? You can hear me, or can you hear me? This is a question. No, I can't. No, I can't, because I have no idea about fixing the car, the mechanical, right? So I cannot. Okay, that's very interesting. It's an optional question. Okay, so we have here one exercise. So the student need to go to practice with this. Okay. Um, so Maria is not here yet. Okay. So the next is like practice and products. Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One sec. Okay, guys. So I apologize for that, but I need to answer that. Okay, so we have this link. So it's the practice and a production. Okay, so always I send to the link to the chat, and the student need to go to the chat, push the link, and going to start to practice with those exercises. Okay, so task. So we have a task in this class. So the student need to write a short guide, 6 and 8 sentences for a student who are new to your school. Use should, okay, can, okay, but we have to, it's like example. For example, should, to give a base and rules. Example, sorry, you should wear your uniform. Okay, so is that the teacher say that when the student is in the inside to the school. Okay, can, do you to show permission option. Example, you can join the soccer team. That's okay. Example, at our school you should arrive by 8 a.m. You can eat snack in the cafeteria. You should listen to teacher. You can borrow books or from the library. Okay, so it's everything is referring this exercise and this conversation. Okay, so thanks so much. This is the last slide for me. So I'm very sad in this situation because, okay, so it's the first time. So maybe I don't know what's going on with the student. Maybe has a inconvenient there. But always I try to send a couple messages before the class. But sometimes the students say, hey, thank you, teacher, but sometimes anybody answer. Okay, so I appreciate for this class and thank you so much for everything. So I'm going to help. I'm waiting for this 40 minutes. So that's crazy to continue to hold for the student though. But I appreciate for everything. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.